Hello, Whiskey Hunters. Thanks for joining me again at the Linen Closet. Whiskey Hunter here. Keith Peterson, one of my subscribers, mentioned last week in his comments after I reviewed the General that the General seemed like a hopped up version of Famous Grouse 18 year, being that it has Macallan Highland Park in it. In his comment, I told him that it does, but it's closer to the 30 year. He said, I've never seen that. I tasted the 30 year, actually New Year's Eve, the year before last, by a buddy of mine, Steve, that came up from LA and brought a bottle. It was really good. And I searched it out. I couldn't, it's very limited supply. It's the 30 years, 43%. It's a limited run. They didn't make that many bottles, and I couldn't find it here in the United States. But I did find it on an auction, and I bid on it and I got it at a pretty good price, actually. And they come up from time to time on auction. I don't think you'll find one in a store in the United States. It was, they came out with the Famous Grouse 30 year in 2004. I'm not exactly sure what year this is. I think they stopped making it in 2010, but they didn't produce that many bottles of it each year. It's a blended malt. It is by the Edrington Group, which has Highland Park and Macallan. So no surprise that the core malts in the 30 year is Highland Park and Macallan, like what I believe is in the General, Highland Park and Macallan, 25 year plus 30 year. So I told Keith that I'd show him these bottles. I got it on auction a year or so ago. I did pick up two of them. This is the box the 30 year comes in. It's a cardboard box with a silver color on it. The inside of the box, it's got two, they're not real brass latches. This is the inside of the box. Comes with a parchment paper. In 2010, the last year they bottled it, they did a specialty 1900, the last 1,980 bottles they produced. This may be one of them because my other bottle does not have this parchment in it, and it's signed by the distiller, or master blender, I should say. It's non-chill filter, no color added. You can't really see the juice because it's a colored bottle, but this is the bottle. And I'm sure it doesn't taste, I haven't had the Famous Grouse 18 year or younger, but I'm sure that 30 year with so many more years on it has a much more profound palate and nose. And so, Famous Grouse 30 year. That's kind of our hunt for that. We're going to review a American whiskey today, an old American whiskey. At our local bourbon and beer group, we have get-togethers 4 or 5 times a year. This is a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, and one of the folks that came there, she brought 2 bottles in Christmas socks, so we couldn't see what was in the bottle, and she poured us a glass of each. Disregard that tone. I'm not going to answer that phone, but it's distracting. So she poured us these drams, and we tasted both of them and really loved both of them. We were really surprised by what was in there. One was a Samaroli Tomental 1967 44 year. You can find that on auctions, and if you look on the internet, some websites might carry it. It's probably more than a $600 bottle now. The other dram You can see a picture of it right here. Well, here's the sample I have from it, from the bottle. It's 70s Old Crow. Now, you know, Old Crow is a pretty inexpensive bottle of whiskey. It's probably, what, $15, something like that? Probably less in the 70s. However, when we tasted this, we had no idea what it was, only that it was really, really good. We were shocked that it was a 70s Old Crow, but that's what it was when she took the sock off and showed us. So this is a 1975 Old Crow. It's 40% ABV. This was owned by National Distillers back in the 70s. They also owned Old Grandad and Old Taylor. I do have some, both of those. I'm not sure. I had one from the early 70s, but I traded it for some scotch. But I have a couple other pints of it, probably early 80s. I should have brought it out to show you. They sold it in 1987 to Jim Beam. This is not the same juice you're tasting today from Old Crow. The Old Crow today is pretty abrasive. This is a totally different dram. So this is the color we've got on this. It's kind of a straw, dark straw, hay color. Let's see what the legs look like on this. I haven't had this in a long time. The legs start running pretty fast. They're forming around the perimeter. Well, you know, they're really, actually, they're not dropping yet. They're just starting. I don't know how old the whiskey is in here. I'm suspecting 6 to 10 years. There they go. They're starting to run. They are running slow, but they're not very fat. In any case, on to the nose. So, it's very sweet. You immediately get a burned sugar from it. Candy corn. Being such a low ABV, there's really no alcohol forward aromatics to it. Sweet oak, toffee, vanilla, corn, of course. There's rich fruits in it. I'll have to taste it to distinguish the fruits. They're kind of melding together. It's really well-rounded. I should have got a cheap bottle of Old Crow today to compare to it. It'd be quite different. You would, on a blind test, you'd have no idea this was a cheap bottle of Old Crow. On the palate. It's very smooth. Really amazingly smooth. But you know, a lot of these old bourbons and whiskeys from the 70s and 80s they are demanding quite a large price. I mean, regular bottles, 750 ml bottles are of these 70s and 80s old bourbon and American whiskeys are going upwards for $400 to $700 even. It's really quite amazing. Salted caramel. Let's take another sip. Legs are really running now. It's drying, sucking the moisture, the saliva right out of my mouth. Oak is present. Not real sweet, but not bitter either. The fruits I'm getting are darker fruits like plums, boysenberries, dark berries, figs. There's some spice in there, clove, maybe a little ginger, not really heavily spiced. The palate is similar to the nose in that it's really pleasing. It's not a, aged Highland Park or aged Springbank, or it's a Old Crow, but it's very good. Let's see what water does to this. Remember, it's only 40%. Now it's not. All right, let's see what we have in the nose now. It brings out much more oak to the point of masking the other aromatics on the nose. Palate. It does the same on the palate too. It makes it more oaky. It kind of and it masks the sweet corn and the salted caramel. It makes the oak doesn't really change the oak much, and it kind of subdues the dark fruits. All in all, it's a good dram. It's better than most 12-year-old Scotch that I try, actually. In any case, I would give this a rating of 88. Yeah, about an 88. It's good, but, it's not Scotch. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please, if you enjoyed this review, subscribe if you haven't. Share this with your friends. There is links below for my Instagram, my blog, and Twitter, which I'm getting the hang of now, a little bit. I, again, appreciate you guys joining me. I'll have something interesting to try next time and another story of another hunt. And I look forward to seeing you in the linen closet. See you next time.